Good morning, Eric.
Morning.
Morning, Barry.
Good morning,
Thanks
Paul.
for taking the time to check out some of this stuff. And we've got Paul from Big Joe Stopbox Company with us too, who might be chiming in with some specs and pricing of some of these Big Joe Powerbox series lithium power supplies. And you guys have put this on this board for me to let this entire board be battery powered, so where it doesn't have to be plugged into the wall, but I can plug it into the wall if I want to. So
we did this a long time ago, but these are significantly different now. Or this is the same, but these are significantly different though, correct?
Yes, they are. So the Li2 is what you guys put on here a long time ago. This is the newer version that has 4 isolated outputs, same footprint, same way to charge, same USB out if you need to charge your phone or something. And then the biggest one in the Powerbox series is the ISO 8. So we just discovered a interesting little thing here as we were kind of plugging up stuff. We're going to show how you use this home button to cycle through, seeing what the charge percentage is, how many hours, depending on what the load of pedals is that you have plugged in and what milliamps we're pulling. So let's go ahead and turn this on, Barry, and if you can just kind of take us through that and plug up a couple pedals.
Yeah, so we were kind of discussing earlier that it'd be cool to have this in a tech box or something, just to test, like, in addition to just powering things, but to like test current draw on stuff, and the dot needs to be on the milliamps. Is that right?
Yeah, so as you cycle through, go ahead and click that a couple times there.
Yeah.
So that dot that's in between the 2 9s on the right.
So this is saying 100. This is saying it would go for 100 hours, and basically that's because nothing is plugged in.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and plug that in, and we'll show how the screen.
Oh, how it drops?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
now it won't. This shouldn't draw very much because it's just a simple little pedal, but it should hypothetically that should drop, and so it took some time to recalculate. So now it's a paltry 60 hours.
60 hours if you were just running.
You could only run this pedal for 3 days. We can't do better than that.
Alas.
So if I click it again, it'll show me so that's the percentage, right? So it's 96%.
So if you just look above these hash marks, wherever the dot is.
Got it. So this is drawing 18 milliamps, which from experience, that sounds about right.
And is that true for most Boss pedals, drives, and things like that?
Yeah, drives and things like that. Like a chonky one would be like 30 mils or something like that. If it's just like an analog
anything above
pedal,
the teens is pretty hungry.
Yeah. I mean, you're spending as much time. It'd be interesting. Okay, so you can look and see here. So the pedal's on now, right? But it's not. You have the LED in there too, in frame. So it's on, and it's all the circuitry is being powered and all that, but the LED isn't on. So when I turn on the LED, you see it goes up to 22. So 4 milliamps of the 18 are just for driving the light.
Wow.
So it just shows you how little the actual audio processing stuff draws. Now, we were screwing around with this a little bit earlier, and this distortion pedal from Pigtronics, which I previously thought was just a drive pedal.
I've owned it for years and thought it was a regular drive pedal.
Let me get this set up.
So we'll go back to the milliamps. Yeah,
right? So it says 0 now because nothing, ostensibly because there's nothing plugged in. And when I'm going to cycle that around so I don't kill the punchline. If I plug this in, 300 milliamps for a mini drive.
Pedal, for a mini drive.
For a mini drive
but
pedal.
It's awesome.
It is great. There's no doubt about it. It doesn't take anything away from the pedal. What it takes away from is my conception of the world.
It draws more than a Strymon Riverside.
That's right. Or it draws more than a Big Sky.
We were also surprised. Barry got the meter out.
I was like, this can't be right. And I was like, well, I got to assume that this is right. But that can't be right. So we got out the way that we often measure it here, which is caveman by comparison. But everybody agreed. And so this thing really does draw 296 milliamps. I can't tell you why. I will be opening this up this as soon as we're done doing this stuff and trying to figure out what on earth. Now it is very heavy.
It's a dense thing. I took the lid off.
But as far as a tool, I think that would be very cool to have, like in a tech box or something. It might help you diagnose things that aren't working, and really just kind of a get out of jail thing. Like if you're a tech and you're set up in your world and you've got tuners to run and like little stuff like that.
Yeah.
Before they've done your power drop or something for your side.
I frequently haven't gotten power drops over the years.
So
part of the reason I hate 9-volt batteries.
You can be your own man. You'll be like a homesteader out there with your own power. You're off grid. You're off grid power box.
Got my my water tower. My those big fans called windmill going.
That's right. So that's the ISO 4.
That's the ISO 4.
Is this basically the same concept?
Well,
extended?
and so just start from the Li2. So, Paul, I'll ask you the question. Again, Paul from Big Joe Stopbox Company is joining us. The Li2, what is the price on this one? $129 for the Li2?
Yeah.
Okay, and then how much is the ISO 4?
$159 on that one.
Okay, and so the difference you're getting with those is you're getting 4 isolated ports. With this guy, you don't have that isolation. So if that's an important thing to you, or you want a couple extra jacks. And Barry, do you want to just touch on isolation at all?
Yeah, so isolation means that the way that we typically use it, and this in MI and pedals and stuff like that, means that these ports, the little center pin in there is usually on these ports it is negative, and on your pedals it's usually negative. We'll just compare these two because these two are not isolated and these 4 are. These are tied in parallel, which means that both connectors or both conductors in this connector are tied together. Which isn't a problem if you're driving like 2 drives or something like that. But if this one is connected to maybe something that's got a sophisticated switch mode supply or something in it that's putting a bunch of trash on the line.
Or digital clocks.
Stuff like that. Buzzes, rizzes, things like that, which may not affect that pedal at all because it's filtering it. But if it's putting that trash on the line and these two are tied together, then that means that the trash that's here is also here. And if you have a drive pedal that can't reject that trash, which would not be uncommon, then you're going to feed noise through this power supply connection to that, because the pedals are not only connected audio-wise through the audio cables that go between them. In fact, this board, everything is ganged together. So you've got audio cables from here to here to here, and then also the power supply cables are ganged together in parallel. So that can make little loops between these pedals. And in this case, there's no issues, but for some different combinations of pedals and or different noise environments, you may pick up hums and stuff. Now, isolation prevents that crosstalk because these are not connected. So it would be like having 2 separate batteries, or in this case, 4 separate batteries powering each one of these ports. And so those, nominally, these ports should be isolated from one another in the same way that 4 separate batteries are isolated from one another, meaning there's nothing connecting the two together. And for some pedals will demand that because of noise issues and the stuff that we've already talked about, or ground loops or things like that. So, you could take any one of these and fan those out, split this to multiple pedals, but you might want to keep like clones, digital pedals or whatever. You might want to keep those on isolated ports all by themselves. So that's kind of the deal with isolation. It really comes down to noise. Really, it's mostly noise.
It's all noise.
In practice.
Yeah.
There's other reasons, like if if I have a fuzz that's reverse polarity power, then I can't take my power ports and bind them together because this one's backwards. And so if I bind them together after I invert it, that's just a short. And so you will need isolation in that, just like those fuzzes and things like the positive ground fuzzes, as they're kind of called. That's why they all had to have their own batteries in them, and so they need isolated supplies, like an isolated battery to drive them. So those are the two issues I can think of predominantly. Can you think of anything else?
That's it. Noise or just it.
That's a good explanation. And again, in the case of this board, I've got a digital tuner, digital delay kind of combination pedal with looper and all that sort of stuff, and then an analog drive. And I have the non-isolated Li2, and it worked out fine. It's dead quiet, and we did everything on one port as far as the powering, and then I have an open port for if I have some other little guest pedals or something. So this is an instance where a combination of analog and digital worked out just fine. You have to just kind of get your pedals out and see how they're going to cross-talk to each other and all that sort of stuff. But, one way to think of it, perhaps, is... with the non-isolated supply, if you want to save a little bit of money and you've mainly got just analog pedals, that's going to be a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
If you have a combination of digital pedals, certainly if something has a screen on it, is usually when I find you get that kind of crosstalk with a non-isolated supply, then you're going to want to look at the ISO 4 and get those isolated ports. And that way you've got some options of how to get those digital pedals on their own power supply. Yeah. That's how I kind of just generally think of it.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
And then we'll move to the ISO 8 here, which is the biggest brother of the Powerbox series.
So this has all the same features, essentially, just different form factor?
Different form factor.
I see there's multiple blocks here.
There's multiple blocks, and on the bottom there it explains how many milliamps you get what the max output for the whole supply is. So, Barry, if you want to flip that on, and we'll just show...
Is the power, or is it here? Oh, it is on.
Yeah.
So it's on.
So let's show the screen again really quick and just how the home button works on all of these. Again, it just juggles. So in this instance, we have hours, percentage, and milliamps all with their own light there. So whichever one you're juggled to.
So it's super low.
Yeah. So this is 5% charged at the moment.
And then the hours here would be based, obviously the power supply's got to power itself. So you can't run for forever. Yeah. Even if it's not powering any pedals. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah. So left to right, pretty simple, on off USB output if you want to charge your phone, your iPad. This is where you charge the box itself. And again, if your power supply is low, you can just plug it in and you've got like a traditional power supply. That can just be powered off the wall. So this gives you the option to be powered on the wall or off the wall. So that's that panel. We'll flip to the other side, and Barry, if you can just kind of go through those blocks.
So block A, block B, block C.
And then we've got the voltage flips on block B.
Yeah, you want to be, this is a great power. With great power comes great responsibility thing. I assume this works for... Oh, the LED's nice.
Yeah, it's just letting you know that you're in a different voltage than 9.
Yeah, that's good, because that dovetails into what I was going to say, which is, let's say you flick that switch and then plug that into a Strymon pedal. Your Strymon pedal is going back to Strymon to get fixed. So that red light there, I think, is a great idea. Maybe it would save somebody some headache here. So be careful with those switches. They're going to bail people out, but they could be set wrong. So keep an eye on those LEDs. That's a good idea.
And traditionally, that would be definitely the case with a powered off of the wall supply.
Oh, that's true. I mean, we're constantly, the number one thing that we see with people fry stuff is they went to their box of wall warts and they pulled out one without thinking about it, and they plug it into their Klon. There's a quick whiff of ozone, and the Klon doesn't turn on anymore. And they're like, they go and look at the wall wart, it's 18 volts.
Yeah. So and again we have Paul Christian from Big Joe Stopbox Company with us. And so what really makes this whole series of stuff different is there's software that's controlling these power supplies. So Paul, if you want to just make a quick
I want to just comment one thing on the 18-volt switch. There is circuitry built in where you get a little bit of a delay before you fry your
that's
kettle.
great.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how long a delay it is, but you got
makes
several
sense.
many seconds where you can look at that red light and say, wait a minute, and then quickly flick it off or unplug it before you send it back to Stride.
Oh, that's cool.
So-
That's great.
Yeah, so there's some
built-in
protection built into
circuitry.
the
Yeah.
software.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's somebody who's interacted with real human beings. I look forward to doing that one day.
Good times.
So that is the Powerbox series by Big Joe Stopbox Company. And if you want more information, you can go to the website, bigjoestopboxcompany.com. And on the underside, these are all the tech specs for anybody who wants to see the milliamps per block and the total output and all of that sort of stuff. So we're going to have some more videos coming. We're going to move to the Power Board series. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Barry.